Welcome back to the next interview in the series, How to Get the Most Out of Your AJC Coaching Career School Experience. My amazing guest today is Beshlie Donaldson. Hi, Beshlie.
Hi, Dave. Good to be here.
Thank you so much. So those of you who listen and watch regularly will be used to the format now. Beshlie's going to kick off with her bio, and then we're either going to go into the questions or we're going to vamp around some stuff that occurs to me to quiz her about being a graduate of the AJC Coaching School. So if you'd like to start us with your bio, Beshlie, that'd be brilliant.
Brilliant. Yeah, no, my pleasure. This is, yeah. So ever since I was a child, I've been interested in big ideas. I have a burning desire to be a force for good, to use my voice for those unable to speak up for themselves, to make a difference and to change things with my personal power. I was brought up in a loving home and I was encouraged to follow my dreams. I was given the freedom to make my own choices and to make my own mistakes. I always had unwavering emotional support from my mum, my sister Anne, and my uncle Russell. I followed an unconventional path. I thought that I would work in either law or politics, but a few twists and turns led me to recruitment and to being a business owner. I've had a 20-year career in recruitment, which culminated in co-founding a boutique executive search firm in the biotech space, recruiting CEOs in the US and Europe. Before that, I ran my own headhunting firm for 8 years. I'm a tenacious entrepreneur. I'm comfortable with taking risks. I have a commercial mindset. I can sell, and I have a strong money concept. In 2020, I had a profound experience when I worked with a coach who introduced me to the 3 principles. Glimpsing this psychological paradigm changed my life. My mind quietened down, my mood lifted, my daily life improved as my level of consciousness rose. It was transformational. I serve humanity one person at a time. I coach high achievers who want to get more done in less time and earn more money. I'm called to coach. It's my life's work. Clients hire me to improve their careers, their leadership, their profitability, and their sense of purpose. Our work together is far-reaching and transformational across all areas of their lives. Relationships are improved, parenting becomes joyful, promotions are secured, and profitability soars with my coaching. I'm not afraid to ask the risky questions or to go high flame with my clients. This is always done with love and permission, within the context of high rapport. It is my honor and privilege to serve my clients. I listen deeply to my clients. I create a sacred space for their wisdom to guide them when their minds get quiet. I point my clients towards the truth of how thought creates their experience of life, which opens the door to achieving incredible levels of success in all areas of life. I began coaching in January 2022. I've invested confidently in my new career as a coach. I have a roster of paying clients, which is growing. I'm finding my authentic writing voice and I'm creating clients in the business world. I'm excited to be enrolled on the inaugural AJC Coaching Career School, class of 2022. I've been working one-on-one with Ankush since January 2022. I've completed the Ankush, Jain and Mark Howard course, creating an impactful and sustainable 3P coaching practice. I'm an apprentice practitioner with a 3PGC. I attended the Dick and Bettinger and Michael Neal event, One Thought Away in London in June 2022. I attended the Ultimate Event London edition in April 2022 featuring Steve Hardison. I enjoy the work of Sid Banks, Steve Chandler, Michael Neal, Jack Pransky, George Pransky, Amy Johnson and Claire Diamond. I'm creating my practice during limited work hours because I'm prioritizing being with my children while they're young. It is the greatest honor of my life. I live in a life of simplicity and power in Derby with my twin sons, who are currently age 6, and my wonderful husband, Bob. I'm a creator in the field of human possibility. I'm a badass beacon of love. I am Beshlie.
I love that. I love how you giggled at that. We had an exchange about that. Badass beacon of love. Do you use that as like a tagline or something?
I haven't really. In fact, in there it says I'm a beacon of love, and I put the badass in after, as we've after reading the Jen Sincero book, A Badass at Making Money, and Yeah, Rajni from the coaching,
Yeah.
she called me badass Beshlie, so that's all
Oh,
good.
did she really?
I call her the audacious one.
I love that. I love particularly the sort of you know, I get a really fun sense of you, and like the kind of irreverent flame of that, you know, in the business world of being badass, especially the executive coach. I love that. That's just, it's such a beautiful play, isn't it? Oh, amazing. I mean, thank you. There are so many things in that bio. I could, you know, honestly, we could sit for the next, I don't know, 3-4 hours and just talk about that. There was, before I ask any questions or whatever, but I just want to dig around the bio a bit, if that's okay with you. There was something you said early on about being a voice for people who didn't have one, or words to that effect. Can you just speak about that a little bit? Because that really, there's various things where I kind of went, oh, that's interesting. Yeah. That was one of them.
Yeah, I think I've always felt, well, I thought I was going to be a politician, basically. I thought I was going to be, you know, prime minister, but it didn't quite happen. But I just always felt like, yeah, I could use my voice. Like I've always been able to articulate, and I've always been encouraged to, you know, say whatever I think. I remember being a kid and there was a guy down the road cutting down a tree, and I was like obviously a budding eco warrior and had a big go at him for doing it, and no one stopped me. You know, they were probably just like,
oh, well, that's a surprise.
yeah. So I think it's that kind of thing, you know, and I'm happy to share as well in terms of my background. I was fostered, you know, I was brought up in an unusual home. And so I feel very privileged to have had that amazing upbringing. And also, you know people in my life who've really had, you know, big things to overcome and struggles. And, you know, I just feel a responsibility, you know, to stand up for people who can't always stand up for themselves, I guess. And, you know, coaching is not to heal the sick and wounded, as Steve Chandler says, you know, it's to help people fulfill their greatest dreams. But, you know, so I'm not like a wannabe therapist, but at the same time, I think that calling and that feeling of wanting to do good in the world, you know, I didn't feel that when I was a headhunter, and I really feel that now when I'm a coach. So it just definitely gives me,
I love
that reason to get up in the morning, you know.
Yeah, no, that was interesting. One of the other phrases that really stuck out. There was one, the coaching is my calling.
Yeah.
When you said that, it was like I don't know. It was almost like there was like a jingle around it when you said it, because you almost said it in a sort of slightly throwaway way compared to the intonation of some of the other stuff. And then suddenly you went, coaching is my calling. I'm like, what? Oh my God, yes, it is, isn't it? That's amazing. There was one other thing you said. I should have written it down, but I suppose because the video was on, I was thinking, oh, I shouldn't write, but I should have written it down. Yeah, funny things you do when you're recording stuff. But I love that, and I loved oh no, that's right. It was when you were talking about your journey into the 3 principles, and your whole energetic tone of how you were speaking to us softened and really. Yeah. And I wonder whether, just like that, I wonder whether you'd really felt that. And I wondered how that had played out. I wondered, in fact, how those 3 things, like the kind of standing up for people who don't have a voice, the call to coach, and the softening, how did they kind of develop and nurture through the school? Can you talk a bit about that?
Yeah, that's an amazing question. Yeah, I mean, the school was such a deeply profound experience to me that I just wasn't expecting, and all of that came out. And actually, I felt quite emotional then when I was reading the bio, because I remember the experience of
felt that,
yeah, I felt like I was, well, you know, going to cry. Which is fine, tears of cool, I welcome them. And it was a very emotional experience in the school. And the feeling of being called, I think being amongst other people who all feel like that, you know, I'm pretty sure that every single person, and I think, you know, you can earn good money in coaching, but it's not the reason that anybody becomes a coach. You know, certainly for me, you can make a lot of money as a headhunter. And I think that being around other people that feel called, you know, there's a big thread of the 3 Ps running through the school. Some people, you know, like Jackie Moses, Ronnie Bora, deeply sort of grounded in 3 principles, and have been for many, many years, and incredible presence, you know, being around people like that, and Ankush, of course, you know, and that doing a force for good, being a force for good in the world. And, you know, that's the essence of the school, really. It's I would say it's bringing together people who are in coaching to help other people, to be a force for good in the world. And Ankush definitely embodies that, you know, and being, you know, embodying what we talk about. And that's something that I took from the school, that, you know, I think I've been focusing up here in the intellectual side and putting all the information in, reading all the books and getting all of that all up here. And that's probably my kind of default way of being. When I was a kid, I'd just go and read a book. That'd be my most favorite thing to do. I was always very bookish. But then this whole idea of embodying that and bringing it into the body, listening from my heart, deep listening that I've learned from the school, from, you know, people like Jackie, Rani, Victoria, Angie, amazing listeners. And all of that coming together in this kind of like cauldron of creation, I think Kirsten called it, which is just amazing.
Wow.
Describe it.
Yeah. Badass Beshlie and her cauldron of creation.
Yeah.
That's a sequence of films, if ever I've heard one.
Is it? Oh, right. Yeah, it could be.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think the phrase that was used was "all boats rise," wasn't it, in relation to Steve Chandler's coaching school? And I think Karen Davis and others wrote a book, and that's a phrase that was used as well, in terms of all of us coming into this as a, you know, the sum of everybody together, and, you know, learning from each other and embodying that together in this amazing environment. You know, all boats rise. You know, everybody benefits. And, you know, I think I would say every single person at the school, I've learned something from, every single person.
I love that. I had, sorry, I interrupted you. I didn't mean to. I had a real image there of, you know, when the water rises, all boats rise. And I had this image of you kind of looking this way, making sure that the people here, you know, were being lifted.
Yeah.
I get that real sense of caring and compassion from you. And I just think it's so interesting, isn't it? Everybody I've spoken with has really talked about the community and the unexpected depth of transformation.
Yeah. I
think everybody expected to learn cool stuff about how to grow your practice and, you know, tools and stuff, and all of that's there. But this really sort of deep and powerful coming together, this idea of collective, of you know, as you described, of people who want to not just do good but be good in the world, and change lives, starting here, you know, and then sort of radiating that outwards. That's incredible. I love that. Yeah, amazing. So what do you think of all the things that you learned? And, you know, obviously you made amazing connections. Is there one particular thing that really stands out that was like pivotal, when you really saw something, or maybe even whether you felt you were like, you know, when you were describing the principles, I got this sense of like that was a pivot point for you.
Oh, yeah.
You kind of went, you know, got really quiet. So was there a point where you thought, oh my goodness, my business is going to be different now because?
Yeah, I think that happened for me in the last weekend. So I created a book group out of the last weekend.
Okay, yeah.
With massive ease, with like 10 people. And I created a one-on-one client as well that I just messaged them over the weekend. And it was just like dominoes falling, like it just felt like, wow, okay, this is happening. And it was really interesting. Like I'd had like a goal of having like a full coaching practice by the end of the final weekend. And I went into it, I think, with 5 one-on-one clients. And I came out of that weekend with 16 clients, obviously including a good group of people for the book group, which are obviously lower value than my one-on-one. But it was only a few days afterwards that I kind of realized, okay, I still have a couple of spots for my one-on-one coaching. I'm not full, but look what I created. I went way past the number of people that I thought would have hired me by that point, in a different way, you know, in an unexpected way. And it's that whole...
that's interesting, isn't it? Yeah, that's really interesting. So that whole, and what I heard there was you were really surprised by the numbers.
Yeah.
It's like, wow, I had a group of 10. I wasn't expecting, 10 people to want to do something with me.
Yeah.
That's interesting when you're predominantly a kind of one-on-one sort of focus, isn't it? I guess when you're executive searching and headhunting, ultimately it comes down to one-on-one.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
For one post. So the natural progression to exec coaching of one-to-one. And then suddenly you discovered that actually you were a group, which is a different skill, I think, and a different dynamic, but actually you're a group leader as well.
Yeah.
So this whole new and has that kind of blossomed into something that might come into your business? Like, do you see that being nurtured as time goes on?
I do, definitely. Yeah, in doing sort of in-person group stuff, because the book groups that I run are mostly Zoom and WhatsApp. Well, they are, Zoom and WhatsApp, and then we kind of read a book together. But yeah, absolutely, I do see that skill translating then into in-person work with, small businesses. And that's something I'm talking to one of my clients about at the moment. Yeah, and that's something that I've never really done, but I love the idea of going in and, coaching groups, facilitating, kind of just lighting the touch paper and letting people explore things with guidance. I really enjoy that role, and yeah, it is unexpected and it's not where I saw myself going, but it's so interesting when we head in a direction. It's that dance, I think, between specificity and openness. We can be really specific about what we want, and that's good, but at the same time open to something else. And then what happens is, for me, it's been a mixture.
Yeah. I wonder whether sometimes we kind of specify, within the limits of our thinking minds, that specificity, well, I just about got that word, that specificity has been generated energetically from the thing that's going to most benefit us. And that's where the response comes from. I
think so. Yeah.
So I sort of think of sometimes things I've put out on offer and died on their arse, and then actually what comes behind it is something where you think, oh wow, well, that's really cool. Now, if I'd have been doing the other thing, I remember I suddenly thought, commitment was like a big thing for me in February, and I thought, 28-day commitment challenge would be really good. So I created a group, bashed something out on Facebook, put it out. Might have done it on LinkedIn as well. See what happened. One person was like, oh wow, I thought it was a really good idea, whatever. But then behind that came the whole Mumbai thing, and do you know what I mean? It's like, if I'd have been tied up with that, then I wouldn't. And of course, the big lesson in Mumbai was commitment, really. I'm not going. 48 hours later, blimey, it's all booked. Yeah, it's a whirlwind. That's amazing. Last question, then I'll get you to share with people how they can get a hold of you and stuff. If you were to do the whole thing again, like, is there something you'd pay more attention to or maybe do differently next time?
It's a really, really good question. I think I would write more in the moment. So I had a great experience on the last weekend I just woke up at 4 o'clock in the morning on either the Saturday or the Sunday, and I just wrote this post, and it just came out of me, and I posted it, and it got loads of engagement, and I also made some offers to people, and it was so interesting. It's like it wasn't me doing it. It was like it was coming through me. And I think what I would do differently, and what I do more much more differently now, instead of having, for my writing, instead of having like okay, I got to do a newsletter on a Friday, or what am I going to write? When inspiration strikes, just write in that moment, because it's like, not to get sort of too woo-woo, but it's like it's coming from a higher source, and it's just coming through, and it's effortless, and it's way more powerful. So I think that's something that I would do differently. I would be more tuned in, and when inspiration strikes, just go with it at the moment, instead of what I have done in the past. That'll be a nice idea for a blog. Write that down in my list of things that I might write a blog about on another day. Just write it now, even if it's short, even if it's messy, or even do a video. I don't do much video, probably could do more video. And again, that's very energetically strong, and people can feel more of you. I do a lot more voice notes now, and again, they're great because it's more of you coming through than just a sort of a text. But yeah, that's the main thing that springs to mind, to just write when the inspiration strikes, and when it feels like it's just effortless and flowing through me.
I love that. And I love that you said, you know, well, what I heard anyway was that you'd write to completion versus something I know I sometimes do, you know, because I write my newsletter on Friday to come out on Saturday. And it's like interesting things. I had amazing insight about where my ridiculous, going shopping this morning, and I suddenly thought, where's that list come from on my shopping list?
Yeah.
Like, so what's the bottom driver behind that list? Is it emotion? You know, I'm eating stuff I like to cook for the family. My son's still home from uni, all that kind of like malarkey. Is it health? Is it around maintaining weight? You know, what are the driver? And I thought, whoa. I mean, I thought about food and eating a million times, but I'd never thought about it from that point of view. And I didn't write it down. So the story's getting hazier and hazier, you know, and by the time I come to try and write it at the weekend, I think it'll have probably have gone. So hopefully something else will have taken its place. But I love that. Yeah. Capturing it in fullness at the point of energetic release when it comes, like you said, it's like you're being written, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's not us writing. It's like whatever this we're you know, other thing is, we're being written. So that's beautiful. Oh, I love this. Thanks, Beshlie. That's fantastic. I know people are going to want to get in touch with you, and I'm going to put links below to stuff that you've shared with me. Just say it for us so we can hear you. How can we get hold of you?
Yeah. So the easiest way, well, I would say probably my email address, hello@beshlie.coach. The only hard word there is my name. So it's BESHLIE.coach. I'm on Facebook. I'm on LinkedIn. As an ex-headhunter, I'm kind of quite happy on LinkedIn. I was one of the first people on there, I think, probably before I was even on Facebook. Yeah, and that's it. And, you know, if anybody wants to connect with me, if any of your viewers that are seeing this want to have a conversation, I'd be very happy to offer people a conversation with me if they want to talk more about anything to do with the coaching school or anything at all about life in general.
That's lovely. And are you going to be reserving badassbeshlie.com?
Yeah, I might. Yeah, look, badass. Speaking of love, yeah, I think you said that could be a great title for something.
Yeah, definitely. Looks like brilliant. Beshlie, thank you so much. It's just been a joy to spend time with you today. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dave. Thank you.